Got to talk about Trump. Here we go. Unapologetic Trump supporter. That's what you always say in a lot of your videos, right? Now, I know you've been to a Trump rally. What's it like being an Asian at a Trump rally?
It's amazing.
An Asian at a Trump rally? Really?
Yeah, no problem at all.
So have you felt that sense of community, or have you ever felt any side eye or anything there?
No, actually, because I do conservative content.
Yeah.
When I go to a Trump rally, there's so many people that watch me.
Yeah.
That I take, 50 pictures, 100 pictures with
is that
people
right?
all the time. They're so happy that they're, and you'll see a huge community of Asians. I tried to go to a Kamala rally.
Okay.
I tried. I really tried.
Okay.
They're not public. You can't just show up at a Kamala rally.
Oh, really? You can't just buy tickets just like a Trump rally?
You have to apply.
Okay.
And who are you? What's your name? Who are you affiliated with? And then they vet you and they allow you in. The Trump rally, literally anyone can show up. So one is open to the public and one is extremely closed off. They don't want dissenters within the Kamala rally. I've seen all types of people. I've seen Kamala supporters at a Trump rally. And you would think that the Trump supporters would be very aggressive towards them. Not at all. It's like, okay, they made the effort. Maybe they support the other side. They made the effort to come here. Maybe they want to learn something. And they're actually really open and accepting.
But when Trump says something about, when he goes off, have you watched the speech?
I've been to 3 Trump rallies. I've been to events, donor events, fundraiser events, etc.
But when he goes into China, do you ever see anyone from the Trump supporters or the crowd kind of look at you or, they're talking about this guy over here, even though you're Korean, obviously?
I think there is an understanding that when you talk about China, you're talking about not even the Chinese people in China.
Yeah.
You're talking about the government of China. You're talking about the CCP.
Yeah.
I think most people actually understand that. I think the left tries to say, oh, he said China, so he hates everyone that's Asian. I think that's kind of pretty ridiculous. I think even within China, I'm like, oh yeah, the Chinese are so communist and they're tough. I'm not talking about every single Chinese person in the world. I've been to China many times. I actually really enjoy being in China. Actually, it's funny because when you go to China, the Chinese people in China love Americans.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the narrative is that, China hates Americans. It's not true. Actually, everywhere you go, it's a poster of Kobe Bryant.
Right, yeah.
Kobe Bryant is literally everywhere.
Yeah.
And every factory you go outside of, there's a basketball court, and everyone's wearing either a Kobe jersey or a LeBron jersey. It's this idea that when you say a country's name, that it means all the people of that country. And that's just not true. I think most people would, if they just took a quick second to think about that, that's obvious. But it's so easy to say, oh, he hates China.
Okay, but you're a smart guy. Trump objectively is kind of crazy. A lot of the things he does is pretty ridiculous. A lot of his antics, a lot of his character, a lot of the things he says, he tweets about, it's pretty absurd.
I really like that about him.
Okay.
Because when Trump tweets or when he talks, you know that this is something that he's actually thinking about or talking about. Maybe he doesn't say it in the best way. But that's what happens when you just shoot from the hip. You're going to make mistakes.
So you like him because he's not the traditional politician.
Well, at least I know what he's thinking and what he's saying. Because there's not 2 or 3 versions of Trump. Trump is Trump. You know Trump. You can think you know him. You know him. When you think about someone like a Biden or a Kamala, you have no idea what those people are about, what they're thinking about, what they care about, how they speak. They only know what the establishment behind them is saying they have to say. You actually know nothing about Kamala. She doesn't even do press conferences.
But do you really like Trump, or is it just you just don't like everyone else? So, all right, I'll choose Trump.
Well, we have a binary choice in America.
Yeah.
And that's, like it or hate it, that's all we have. We have a binary choice. Are you going to take Trump, or right now, you're going to take Kamala? Kamala, who does 0 press conferences, who only does scripted content, who is being told that she's popular and she's brat and she's demure. You can either buy into that narrative, but you actually know nothing about her, or you can choose a side that actually you know him. And we know that in 4 years of Trump, they say that the world was going to end, that we're going to go into all these wars, that the economy would fall apart, that he would create a dictatorship, and none of that actually happened. And they're saying the same thing over again. We're like, wait a second. We lived through 4 years of it. None of that actually happened. But yet we're supposed to believe that that would happen again when it didn't happen the first time.
But do you think ultimately having Trump, someone so bombastic in office, creates the right, let's say, creates the right moral environment amongst people in this country? Because I remember after he won in 2016, there was a lot of racists and a lot of, let's say, KKK members or, people that the scum of society pretty much were out there shooting their guns and, saying, all right, we took back the government. We took back America. And it empowered a lot of people with these, salacious, let's say negative moral standings to then appear and be vocal again in society.
I would say go walk in a conservative area of the country by yourself. Are you safe or are you not? Reality is you'd be extremely safe. Go walk around the really dark Democratic parts of LA. Are you safe or are you not safe? Which would you rather live in?
Right.
I would rather walk around the middle of rural Georgia by myself. No problem.
Right.
I'm not walking downtown LA by myself. Would you?
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
Nobody.
Right.
And I think, especially LA, because I'm in LA now, real estate here is ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Out of control.
Right.
You live in what you call a luxury condo, but you can't walk outside your own apartment at nighttime. That is a huge indicator of the system around you is broken or not.
Right.
If you can't walk outside your house or you can't allow your daughter or your wife to walk outside in your own neighborhood at night, something about your system is broken. If my wife says, I'm going to go take a walk at 10 p.m., have fun. In LA, if your wife said, I want to go walk outside at 10 p.m., like, oh, I don't know if you should do that.
So what are your views on the campaign? Do you think Trump's in the lead or it's neck and neck right now?
I think it's 50-50.
You think it's 50-50?
I think it's a toss-up. I really do.
And it's really just about voter turnout, right? Because no one's really going to change their mind anymore at this point.
The point of election, especially with 30 days left, is to scare your side more than the other side scares their side.
Okay, right. Come out and vote or they're going to win.
Correct. Come out and vote or he's going to ruin democracy. Come out and vote or she's going to turn all your kids trans. Right?
Right.
This is how politics works right now.
Yeah.
That's why I hate politics right now.
Okay.
Because there is no incentive to try to convince someone to come to their side. You're not trying to convince anyone anymore.
Yeah.
That part is long gone.
Right.
Because it's all about voter turnout.
Right.
How do you incentivize and we know that the biggest motivator in life is fear. It's not to give them a reward or give them something shiny to chase after.
Right.
We know that the stick is more powerful than the carrot.
Well, that's why news is all negative, right? They're not putting positive news. It's all going to be negative stuff to scare you. That's like news porn, basically, fear porn.
But if you do care and you do care about society and you do care about the election, the only thing you can do right now is take your friends to vote. Because a lot of people say, oh, the voting system, I don't vote because it doesn't matter. And a lot of people on the right will say, oh, the voting system is rigged, so we don't vote.
Right.
My vote doesn't matter. I don't care. And that's actually false.
Right.
Both sides actively believe that your vote matters because that's why they spend the billions of dollars that they do trying to get your vote.
But do you really think that Trump isn't corrupt?
I think everyone's corrupt.
Right? Come on. If anyone, he's talking about, I like leaders in China and Russia and all these places. And everyone knows there's the nepotism, there's the relationship aspect of it. Let's do some business. So everyone's corrupt, right? Trump's corrupt, Pelosi's corrupt.
Everyone has a level of corruption, and that's in all aspects of institution and society. So you can say, well, the presidential election and the presidents and both candidates are corrupt. Yes, fine.
Okay.
But you go into the medical system, at the top of medical system, it's corrupt. You go into the pharmaceutical system, at the top of it, it's corrupt. You go into the education system, it's corrupt. You go into big business, it's corrupt. You go to Wall Street, it's corrupt. Every aspect of society, at the top, it's corruption.
Okay.
But people like to say, Trump's the only corrupt one. No, they're all corrupt. And unfortunately, we are forced to choose the less of two evils.
I think Trump in 2016, that was the first season of The Apprentice. Now we've reached season 12. You know, everyone's kind of used to his shtick at this point. And it's oddly quiet for 30 days out of the election. You know, we're only a few weeks away, and it doesn't seem like years passed where there were so many new news stories that were rocking the nation. Now it seems pretty quiet, oddly. It's like this weird peace that's happening because I feel like everyone already knows each candidate and knows their side. And now it's just, all right, we're just kind of waiting for election day to happen.
Everyone is just trying to talk to their side only and convince them to come out and vote.
Do you think that we'll ever get back to an era where once someone's voted in as president, they're the president for all the people in the U.S.? I mean, that used to happen in the 80s, right? That used to happen in the 90s. And
I think that's really interesting you say that, because if you go to a Trump rally, he actually goes out of his way to say, if you're a Democrat, I'm still fighting for you. There's more than enough room here for you to join over our side. This is what I believe. He actually does that every single rally. They never show that. But he always makes a call out to anyone at that crowd that may not currently be a Trump supporter, but came to the event anyway. He always acknowledges them and says, hey, you can come over. Kamala never does that. There's no call out to bring people aside. And you could say it's just lip service, it's citizen justice. It doesn't matter. He at least does the action of doing it. He makes the call out. Right. Come over. She never does that.
In the conservative media space, I think like sometimes it mirrors what I was explaining earlier about not being able to see a bit of the other side of the argument or bring them in. I'm not saying you do that because I feel like you call out everyone. But are there liberal media people that you listen to or feel like, okay, they have a point in this, or you can see their reasoning for a certain argument?
I don't watch media in general.
Okay.
I consume almost zero content.
Okay.
But after a big event, I will turn on the liberal news or the mainstream news just to get an idea of what they're talking about. I was at a Trump rally once. I think maybe it was after the first primary. And I was in Iowa during the first primary, and I was standing with all the press. And all the press is mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, etc. And Trump was not in the room yet. And I'm chatting with them, I'm talking with them, whatever. And Trump walks in. Every single one of them. The ones on TV, like, we hate Trump, he's the worst. They're like, Trump's here. They all stand up. They get really excited. They actually like him.
Is that right?
They actually really like him because he has this energy about him that people are really attracted to in person. The people on TV that say they hate him, as soon as he walks in the room, their eyes light up, they stand up, they perk up, and maybe he'll talk to me.
Right. They look at him as like a celebrity, right?
And as soon as the camera turns on, they're like, oh, we hate him. And as soon as the camera's off, like, oh no, like they actually like him.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating that they do that. And what I realized is that the people we watch on TV, especially in the news, they're just actors.
Yeah.
They're just reading whatever the script tells them to read. They don't even believe what they themselves are saying.
Right. The producers are feeding it to them.
Correct. And if they were to say, we don't believe this, and they were actually talk their own views and ideology, they would just be replaced with someone else that will.
Yeah.
So they're just actors.
Well, I got to admit, the guy's hilarious. You got to admit he's charming. He's really funny. He's got his pulse on what the country is really feeling and thinking.
I think he's really interesting because actually, I'm a lot more conservative than Trump is.
Yeah.
Trump is actually not a huge conservative.
Yeah.
So.
Have you met him?
Yes.
You've met him? You've talked to him?
I've met him, yes.
Okay.
Just briefly.
Okay.
But I actually have a picture with him and my wife and my daughter together.
Okay.
Which I think is funny. Because they said you can meet him and you can take a picture. And I said, can I bring my daughter? Because I thought it'd be cool. Like, who else is going to give me an opportunity for my daughter to have a picture with any president?
Yeah, sure, of course.
If Kamala or Biden said, Matt, take a picture with your daughter, I'd be like, yes, of course. Right. Like, I wanted a picture of my daughter and a president on the wall. Like, how awesome is that?
Yeah.
He's the only one that would offer. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think that he does a good job of listening to the pulse of the country.